Jake here for American Muscle, and today I'm taking a look at the Morimoto XB LED projector headlights with black housings and clear lenses for the 2016 to 2018 Camaro. If you're looking for the ultimate upgrade to your Camaro's lighting, then look no further than the XB series here from Morimoto. These are going to provide a unique custom look to your ride while also bringing modern good looks, LED technology, and OEM quality construction in a package that is sure to impress. Morimoto has been at the forefront of lighting tech for a while now, and it's really not hard to see why. The XB series are possibly some of their best lights overall. Now, it's easy to find aftermarket headlights that look just that, aftermarket. They might have a cool look to them and maybe some nice features, but they're never going to quite look or function the same way that factory headlights do. But just like other lights in the XB series, Morimoto took the time to make sure that these look and act just like your factory headlights. And with those black housings and the quad LED main beams, I really think these are kind of a knockout. They look great when they're installed and they bring an aggressive custom look. But the beauty is more than skin deep here. These lights provide a significant upgrade over the factory units that Chevy provided in the Camaro, even those optional HID ones. The XB series features quad LED projector housings. So the inner two are dedicated to the high beam and the outer two are for the low beam. So these are going to cast a well-defined beam pattern that is clean, powerful, and bright. These are really going to light up the road much more effectively than your factory lights, and they're again completely LED, so there's no incandescent or halogen bulbs here whatsoever. Not only do you get those LED main beams, but you also get these LED daytime running lights down here at the bottom of the housings. These automatically dim down when you switch on your parking lights or your low beams, keeping them completely in compliance. And those DRL strips also double as the turn signals, and the coolest part, they're sequential. Now, I think sequential turn signals are cool and they're just very satisfying to watch. But if that's not really your speed, you do have the option to set them to a standard full on, full off setting. Now, Morimoto has also thoughtfully integrated both vertical and horizontal adjusters into these units to make sure that you can get them aimed properly with little fuss. So there's two here for the high beams and two here for the low beams. Now, as long as these lights are aimed properly, they meet or exceed all DOT, SAE, and FMV SS 108 regulations, which means that they are fully street legal. So this is a much better option than just throwing some LED bulbs in your stock housings, and these aren't gonna flicker or hyper flash because they're designed to be LEDs from the get-go. Now, as far as construction goes, that's another reason that these are a fan favorite. Beyond just the looks, you can see and feel how well these lights are made. The outer housing is a UV-coated polycarbonate. For the lens, it's going to be made to OEM standards, so it's not going to fade or crack like some less expensive aftermarket options. On the back here, the PPS plastic housing is light and durable, and it's much stronger than other alternatives. Those DRLs that we were talking about a moment ago are Orsum 5000K units, the same that the OEMs use. Now, Morimoto also uses die-cast aluminum heat sinks on here to provide more than enough cooling to keep everything running smoothly. And you can just tell overall that the fit and finish is excellent. You might be paying a premium for these, but you'll be able to see why. Now, about that price, these are going to come in around $1,500, so they are at the top end of the category when it comes to the price. And while there are certainly cheaper alternatives out there for the Camaro, those lights aren't going to have the same build quality or the level of features that you get here. Now, as the saying goes, you get what you pay for, and that is certainly the case with these. The integration, the quality, and the features, I think, really speak for themselves here, and if you're willing to spend that money, these are an excellent option to upgrade your Camaro, and they are still a little bit less than upgrading to that OEM HID setup from Chevy. So let's talk about the installation. These lights are going to come in at a 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty scale, and it should take you about an hour to complete. Now, there is no modification required, and they are a plug-and-play type of install. However, you will need to remove the front bumper in order to access the bolts that hold the lights. Once you've got that bumper off and the old lights out, you're going to simply plug these in and you'll be set to go. Morimoto also provides you with all of the necessary wiring that you need, and everything is plug and play, so you're just going to plug these guys right into the car and you're ready to go. And to show you the process now, let's head on over to the install bay where we'll walk you through it.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, needle nose pliers, clip remover tool, a 1/4-inch ratchet, a couple different size extensions, a 3/8 to 1/4-inch adapter, a deep 7 socket, shallow 7 socket, and a T15 Torx bit. So our first step to removing the bumper is going to be removing all of the 7mm screws holding in our lip. So we can leave these two to kind of hold our lip in place so it doesn't fall and potentially crack on us while we're trying to remove it. So our next step is to remove these 4 T15 Torx screws to release our fender from our fender liner. So now that we have our fender liner screws out, we can go ahead and pull back on that and tuck it behind the tire a little bit. And then we're gonna have these 2 7mm screws. They're gonna be the 2 that are closest to the fender side. So we can remove those. The back one's gonna be a little hard to get to. So we're gonna tuck it in there with a 1/4 inch ratchet. And now we can repeat that same process on the other side. So our next step is to remove these 4 7mm screws that are holding our bumper to our fender. And now with that done, we can repeat that same process on the other side. Now we can remove our 6 T15 screws and our 2 pop clips, and then we can remove our bumper. So now we're ready to remove our bumper. So we have these 2 little supports here that we can pop up and over to release those. Now we can release our bumper from our fender on both sides. So now we can remove our bumper and disconnect all of our electrical harnesses. So we have our 1 electrical connector underneath our driver's side headlight, kind of in the fender well area. So now we can remove our 4 7mm screws that are holding in our headlight. Now we can pull back our headlight and disconnect our electrical connectors. So our next step is going to be to install our fuse tap. So we can come over to the fuse box. We're taking out the F63 fuse and replacing that, and then we can connect it to our headlights. So we can come over to the fuse box, press these 2 tabs and lift up on the cover. And then our number 63 fuse is going to be this guy right here. So you can get in there with the fuse puller, or you can use a pair of needle nose to pull it out. So we'll be removing this fuse right here. And then we can replace it with our fuse tab. So the shorter side harness is going to stay on the passenger side, and then the longer side is going to run over to the driver's side. So we're going to follow this harness across the front bumper to get over to that side. And now we're ready to get our headlights in place. So these Camaros actually came with 2 sets of OEM headlights. So if you have this exact one like we have, you won't have to run this adapter harness. However, if you have the other set, you will have to use this harness. So now we can go ahead and reconnect our electrical connectors for our new headlight. Now we can slide it into place. And we can start our 7mm screws. And now we can repeat that same process on the other side. Right, so now that we have the other headlight in, we can go ahead and reattach our bumper. So we'll go ahead and reconnect our electrical harness. And then we can lift this into place. So first we can reinsert our push clips. And then we can reinstall our 6 Torx screws. And then we can use our T15 to tighten those down. So now we can reinstall our 4 7mm screws that hold our bumper to our fender. So now we can reinstall our 2 7mm screws that hold the bumper and fender together at this line. So now we can pull back our fender liner and reinstall our 4 T15 Torx screws. Now we can repeat that same process on the other side. And now finally we can reinstall our front lip. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Morimoto XB LED projector headlights, black housing and clear lens for your 2016 to 2018 Camaro. Thank you for watching, and remember, for all things Camaro, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.